Lights and sirens is appropriate. Yeah, we're wandering around Santa Barbara.
Yeah, had to make a quick stop to West Marine.
Get some groceries.
Before the rain. Supposedly it's going to rain today. And we also went to the grocery store in Santa Barbara here.
Stocked up for a trip to the islands.
Yeah. It's kind of ended up in a not so great part of town somehow on foot. So we're going to head towards the beach now.
We got groceries stuffed.
We also got a little treat for Twitchell.
We're going to see how this works.
So,
and then we'll let you know. So all you cat people who live on boats.
We never did figure out like her water dish. It kind of spills.
Just makes a mess on the wood floor.
Let's see if we can train her to drink out of a hamster bottle.
We'll see how that works.
Rich Googled it and said people were like, oh yeah, my cat totally loves it. So
she won't drink out of anything else now.
So we'll see if we can get ours to do that. She's pretty.
If I know Twitchell, she'll be a pill about it.
I don't know. She's pretty good.
We'll see if she gets thirsty enough.
So a block later, we're kind of...
Oh yeah, we're not that far away.
On the beach here.
We'll cross. Yeah, we'll cross right here. Bike return confirmation. Thank you for renewing your B-side. Yeah, easy.
Thank you. We are
all the way down the end of this pier. It's far.
Good job, babe. It was a hell of an adventure.
It's our last day in Santa Barbara. We've been stuck here for almost, well, but it'll be a week. Yeah, today's a week. Just there's been like a couple fronts coming through, and like today, the wind out at the island that we're going to go to, Santa Cruz Island, is like gusting up to close to 40. And here it's pretty calm.
It's like glass out here.
Yeah, and it's about 25 miles away or so. So we're just going to wait until that dies down, and then we're going to head out tomorrow. So for today, we're going to go get some breakfast on the beach, and Rich is going to...
We'll splice up some anchor and chain road.
And I'm probably just going to do some food prep stuff. Thanksgiving is coming up, and we're hoping to have some lobster for Thanksgiving. Otherwise, it might be soup.
Talking big.
He's made some promises. That's all I can say. And our friends over on Sailing Vessel Mig, Topher and Norm, they're going to be at the same island, Santa Cruz Island. So we're probably going to be, well, I'm hoping we can spend Thanksgiving with them. So that would be fun. And supposedly they have all the fixins and what have you. So
maybe get together, do a potluck.
Yeah, we'll do a little something. Probably on our boat. Because it's a little bigger.
Mig's a little tight. I'm going to cut out tomorrow morning, not too early. It'd be nice to not have to leave when it's dark.
Hopefully we'll plan to be like at the islands for a couple of weeks. So that'll be on the hook and free. So other than maybe some gas to charge the batteries a little bit. It's kind of a nice location, I guess. We're kind of on an end tie here, and there's this, it's right by the breakwater, and there's a big sandy beach over here, especially at low tide. And yesterday they had all these, there's a big dinghy race all day long. They had all kinds of dinghies out here racing, and they were all over here on the beach in between their heats, I guess. So we're just down here looking at an arch that we really like. This guy's got a really nice arch.
I like the arch is awesome.
It's got this big anchor roller that you flop down to do your anchor.
Electric windlass for the stern anchor.
Yeah, he's got an electric windlass for that stern anchor.
Starlink flat dish.
I like that little bracket it's on.
He's got a backup camera.
Oh my goodness.
He's got a forward camera up on the spreaders.
Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff.
He's got a flop stopper sitting here, ready to deploy. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we had room for that. So let's go get some breakfast.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry too.
So we had our little breakfast.
I'm gonna go burn some calories now.
We did a bunch of grocery shopping yesterday, but we...
Got some key ingredients.
Now I'm thinking about it. Probably should have gotten some stuff for ceviche because we're really counting on Rich catching some
She's
fish.
got her hopes up.
So,
Way too much.
so we have limes. I need to get onion and jalapeno and cilantro. Anything else?
We have Tabasco.
We do have Tabasco.
Sweet. I think we're dialed in.
Yeah.
Some stuff.
We have a chipotle Tabasco and a green Tabasco. Yeah. The other one is really close if we don't find what we need here.
Okay.
There's some jalapenos.
Jalapenos.
Okay. So
All right.
far, what we've got. We came in for cilantro.
Vámonos. Do you have cervezas?
I have one. They have the guitard.
Never go full guitard.
That's right. 3 liquor stores later, we found some non-alcoholic beer.
It's a good kind. It actually tastes like beer.
Yeah. Well, that little store was good though.
Yeah, the grocery store.
That little, what's it called?
Mercado.
Santa Cruz?
Santa Cruz Market.
Yeah, Santa Cruz Market was, they had a lot of stuff and it was inexpensive.
So North Sea 27s, you can get them with either an aft cockpit version or a aft cabin version. And by far the one that people prefer is this one, which is the aft cabin version. The other nice thing is the cockpit, like any center cockpit, is very enclosed. You know, you basically you have it almost like another little room up here. It is, because we have low freeboard, and she heels over very quickly because of she's got really good secondary stability because of her narrow beam, like a weeble wobble, you know. But initial stability and comfort is almost non-existent. When you get to sailing and you're in 12 to 15 knots of wind, you're already heeled over and you're bringing water in through here. Now, something that Norman did on his is he added from here up, he added a cockpit combing that came across right here, and it interferes with the winch. But the truth is, you don't even need a winch on this boat. The sails are so small that you can just
sheet them.
Yeah,
just sheet them through a block.
I don't think I ever hardly pull out a winch handle for these. I just do it by hand. They're so small. Maybe when we fly the spinnaker, we haven't done that yet. But I mean, it's still usable with his cockpit combing comes to about right here, and I would do one that comes down and then kind of cuts down right there, and then it goes all the way across on his boat to right here, and it just comes right around there. And that makes it more like a bathtub in here, which would be really nice. We were wet coming down here. This is basically almost unusable when you get into real weather. You can't hang out in the cockpit unless you want to get wet. Here's Norman's cabin. Now, he lives here, so, you know, this is his home. He has a lot of his junk, but it's got nice little storage there, and there's storage up underneath here. Generally, he sits right here.
And it goes all the way. The feet go all the way under the cockpit combings. Or the
that's
cockpit
his
seats.
and it does that on both sides, but right now we have storage, basically everything's stored on the other side. That's Norman's hole.
That's awesome. Separate little living space, completely detached from the rest of the boat.
And it's really nice because, you know, like on the other North Sea 27s, the newer ones have the 2 berths forward. It's like camping out with a buddy in a pup tent or something. And this is nice because he can get away, have his own space. I can get away and have my own space. I don't let him go forward ever. No, just kidding.
I was just going to get his opinion on
Yeah, no. He's
Keep him locked in the back.
He's lying. Don't lie. You notice there's 2 smart plug here. One for the 48 volt, one for the 12 volt. So generally when we're motoring though, we plug it into the 48 volt, and then we turn on the DC to DC and it charges up both banks. But when we're in a marina, we just turn on the 12 volt because the 48 volt's already fully charged. There's no reason to be pumping, you know, stuff through that. So, and then I made all these little silly things. Here's a little throw bucket, and you know, little stuff like that.
You can't go wrong with cockpit storage canvas.
Yeah, I didn't do a very good job. My stuff is not sewn
but it's
to
like
the
a catch-all.
quality of Jenny's.
You can put all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so these are our boards, our hatch boards.
Yeah.
This is his hatch boards for there. This is mine.
Nice.
Norman sewed these, so they're a little better. They're done a little better. And then this, I'm actually really proud of this thing. I've never seen one on another boat. I think I invented it.
All right.
I'm not
Give you
sure.
credit?
Yeah, if I didn't, somebody tell me that you invented it. But when we were sailing on his boat, it was heeling over so much that I was constantly having a hard time staying up on the high side. And so now what I did is I made these little chocks there, and then you can just put this down in there, and now you can sit on the high side, and you stay in when it's heeled over. You don't, one person can be here and one person can be on the low side, and it's super comfortable actually.
Like that.
It's really nice. You can sit right there facing forward and you're on the high side. So kind of a cool little deal. If I didn't invent that, somebody let me know. I'm still going to claim it. It's called the Topher Lee board. Here's the control panel for the electric motor right here. And chart plotter. All I have is DC plugs for using our phones or our iPads. That's what we use. And I have, paper charts and stuff, but I spent a lot of time delivering boats, about 100,000 offshore miles actually. And honestly, in my opinion, the Navionics is like the most superior chart plotter. It just works so great. So that's what I use. This is Electric Yacht.
Okay.
And I hope that they see this and send me a new one, because it really is kind of upsetting to me. It's kind of getting some corrosion happening on it. I thought it would be made out of really good. Here, let's turn it on. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Just turn on the key. Here, this is all you do to start and run the motor. Just go like that. We're in reverse. Forward. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. That's got some thrust.
Yeah. Oh, it does. It's
quiet.
Yeah. And it's
It's a lot
quiet.
quieter than a Beta 43.
Yeah. It's but I mean, well, we won't get into that because there's definitely a lot more to be said for the Beta, honestly, in my opinion. But this works great for a little boat like this. I think for this build, this is a good deal. I think it works well. This is a 1977 North Sea, and they originally had this fold down backrest and cushion was right here where this crack is, right in these cushions. So it was right here, which made this little area super small, very straight backed, not comfortable. You couldn't really relax in here. And it did not have this insert right here. I made this board that drops in here with this cushion to increase the size of this. So it's got a settee that comes around here like that, and then this table comes down. So when you're out just cruising and stuff and you're not offshore, it works really well. So when I'm offshore, I have a lee cloth that comes up right here. The sail locker now is truly a sail locker. You can't, there's no V-berth anymore. You can't fold this down and make it into a V-berth. This still folds down out of the way so that you can access everything up there. It's got a chain locker all the way forward. And then this is just storage. And I try to keep this light storage. It's not too heavy. It's not heavy stuff. And then underneath here in all of this is deep storage for food. It's all provision, except right here. There's boat storage under here, chemicals and stuff like that. This is a North Sea thing, and it's pretty cool. And I want to show for my daughter. She painted this for me because when she was a little girl and I used to do offshore deliveries, she would always make me little notes, and I wouldn't go on an offshore delivery without her notes. And she's 27 now, and she made me this as my offshore note from her for the trip around the world. Did you just undo these? And I'll show you what else I use it for. So it comes down. So when this is out and this is just a settee, it makes a really nice little table here. This opens up, and then this folds out. So you've got, and you can bring that down even with this, and you can sit, like I was telling you last night, we could have all ate down here.
Yeah.
No problem. If we didn't have this insert in here. If you buy one of the older North Seas, they have the nav station. It is this nav station. This is the original, but it used to be at an angle like this, and you couldn't put any computers on it. It was before
Everything
computers.
slides off.
Yeah, it was made for charts, you know, paper charts, and it worked great for that. But you didn't have all this corner with all of your nav equipment and your radios, and then a full charging area up here with all my charging stuff. I've got the Vesper Watchmate AIS, and then my iPad is my chart plotter down here. It's also my radar, which is great. So generally I have this up as a radar if I need radar, and then I put my phone in this little guy with my chart plotter. I changed all this, rebuilt it. I was laughing when you were mentioning your, you know, redoing your woodwork on your boat and some of the things you did, and I did the same thing, but not as good. I didn't do it properly because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a woodworker. So all of this used to be this really ugly laminate, all this wood, and I cut all this out and shaped it and fit it in, which nothing fits right. It was all, I've got a video of me doing it, and it's pretty funny because I really didn't measure anything. I just cut out little pieces and put them up there, and then trial and errored them together to get it to work. And it works, yeah. I mean, and I like rebuilt these. These used to be carpet.
The knees?
There was no wood on the knees, and so I did those. I added these extra handholds on each, both in the galley and here. This used to be this was the cabinet, but it was this tall before. So, you know, some people would have known how to do this properly, but I just cut it off, cut the piece out, put it back together. So don't judge me, people. And then I added a refrigerator in here. It used to have only an icebox, and a guy in Bellingham, Frostline Refrigeration in Bellingham, Washington, he actually came to the boat. He custom built the refrigeration for this, and the guts of it fit right in here. He fit that in there, and then it goes here, and then it goes all the way behind the sink. It has a deep storage that goes all the way there. So the cold plate that he made for it is this long.
Whoa.
And that big. It's a great big cold plate. So it draws only, you know, I don't know, on low power, it draws about 2.5 to 3 amps, and it keeps it at refrigerator temperature. And I can easily turn it into a freezer if I want. The little things I did, put this little magnetic spice rack back here. It's kind of cool.
Nice.
And then magnetic knife rack, which, just so people don't freak out, I don't leave them there offshore.
Oh,
they don't work.
Flying knife.
But I do this. See, I added one right here, and that works great. It doesn't have a lot of storage in the galley. It's got these 3 little drawers, very shallow little area there for storage for cups, and I've got a French press, and then our plates and bowls up in there. I changed out the DC panel. The big thing I did on this boat, probably the biggest, was I rewired the whole thing. So I do this when I'm cooking. I'm the cook. I'm the captain and the cook. But I do all the cooking on the boat, and this works great. So I can, you know, it's a tiny little boat, and finding space to do anything is just, that's the hardest thing. So I can use this to prep everything. It does have a sink here and here, but we almost never use it. I actually use this as my sink most of the time. And then Norman does all the dishes and stuff out in the cockpit with the tub. I put these racks in here for all of my pots and pans. The boat only has 2 through hulls. It has one right here for the drain for the sink. That's all that one does. The problem with this is, of course, if you leave it open and you're offshore and you're heeled, especially on this boat, You heal over enough on this boat that you'll take water right up into there. I never sail with that open offshore. We just don't use it. So this is my storage. This is all I have for all my stuff, my clothes and everything. This is it. It's in there. Other than my foul weather gear, which is up there right now. And then I've got Starlink. There's my Starlink router. This is my air fryer. And it works great. Yeah, I did a lot of bolting stuff down and using 5200. People love that.
Yeah.
I got a Garmin InReach. I use it a lot. Oh, and this is a hangy locker, which is all snorkeling gear and just a couple of my t-shirts. We also have foot pump for both freshwater. This is a hand pump for freshwater and a foot pump for saltwater. And then this is a little electric. I put in a little electric pump just because I wanted one.
So this is the head. So you get the composting toilet.
Nature's Head.
And up under here.
That's a water maker. It's a Catadyne Power Survivor 40E water maker. Makes 1.5 gallons an hour at about 4 amps. That little hose you see there is the output for it. And I put it into that little 2.5 gallon tank there. But you can also fill the extra tanks from the deck and whatnot if you want. It's long enough I can run it to the tanks if I want to. Mm-hmm. So that's all tool storage. So I've got all my extra nuts and bolts and screws and whatnot, a hole saw, my socket wrenches, and then some extra like corrosion block and stuff like that in there. And then this is all my tools for the whole boat. And they're all super accessible, easy to get to. You just open it up. We know where everything is. So if you want any specific tool, we can grab it really fast. This is another luxury. This
little square shop vac.
Yep, and it fits right there. So when you have to use the head, you have to pull that out. And then I've got one other important thing to show you.
All right, we got a rubber chicken.
Got a rubber chicken.
I thought you didn't have room for anything.
I had to have a rubber chicken because he has a harmonica.
Really?
As soon as he starts playing the harmonica, I either do the rubber chicken or I do this guy right here.
Oh my.
That's how I call Norman.
Wake up.
It's your watch. It's time for your watch.
Time for your watch. So here's the main house and engine switches, and then all of the AC panels right here. And there was nowhere else to put it. I really didn't want it right underneath the companionway. This snaps up and it's a splash guard, to keep the water off of it.
And then these are all your MPPT controllers.
Yeah. So I've got
DC to DC charger.
a lot of stuff, huh?
Converter.
There's a converter and a DC to DC charger.
So these on the sides these are your 48 volt bank.
Yeah. So on each side you have a 100 amp hours at 48 volts, and then they're wired in parallel. So we've got 200 amp hours at 48 volts. Norman, you want to turn it on? Just power forward or aft a little bit.
It's so quiet.
Yeah, motor's running. That's crazy, huh? So that's the 12 volt bank. So everything, all the guts for the 12 volts right here.
Why don't you guys start with telling us about how you guys met and kind of a brief backstory?
Okay. Well,
I see why you had that up.
I have a boat just like this, and I was doing the complete refit, and then I decided to go electric myself. And I was posting some things on the North Sea Facebook site, and Topher saw that I was doing the same thing, and he was getting ready to do the same thing also. So we kind of started talking like that, and he was asking me questions, and that's how it's kind of started.
Like if you look at Evie May and you look at Mig, there's a difference in like quality of workmanship. He's like a professional. Like when he does things, he does them right.
I use a tape measure.
I tend to just get stuff working, and I'm not concerned that that it's not yacht finish and whatnot. I have a lot of offshore experience. I have a ton of offshore experience, and Norm is good at that. So the two of us together, we're pretty good, pretty complementary.
Yeah.
I hope
works.
so. You're
It
going
works.
around the world together. That's your
Right.
plan, right?
Well, yeah,
That's the
and
plan.
that was kind of an accidental thing too. My son was going to travel around the world with me. That's why we bought this boat, and he found himself a girlfriend that he liked and wanted to have a serious relationship with, and he decided he didn't want to sail around the world anymore. I have 5 kids, and I was thinking, well, they can still go with me on different passages, but in the end, the truth is I would have ended up doing a lot of it probably single-handed by myself, and I don't like sailing solo. I don't like the company when I'm sailing solo. So, and Norman was actually on Evie May.
Yeah, we had sailed across the Gulf of Mexico, and then he helped me get over there to Florida, and then I was going to take off and do what I'd planned on doing all along, was going by myself. And then I got around Florida, got up to Daytona, and sailing by myself wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. And I was having trouble getting north because of weather and some other stuff, and that's when Topher come along and said, hey, well, I got an idea. Why don't you just come sail with me? And I said, well, let me think about it for a day. And so I thought about it, and I said, okay, that sounds like a plan. So,
all right. So the first thing I actually suggested was not that he sails with me, but that he brings Evie May over.
Oh yeah.
And we take both boats.
Yeah.
And he was like, that doesn't help me. This is what I'm looking for.
That's not
what I want to do.
It's solo sailing as a team.
Yeah. This way we can split the cost on a lot of things, and
we pretty much split the cost on everything except for like boat maintenance stuff.
Your route that you're taking is not the typical coconut milk run route you're planning. What are you planning to do?
Well, to be completely honest, we try not to really plan a route too far ahead. I've gone back and forth. My original plan was to do the typical, to Mexico, then Marquesas and across. But the more we've talked about it, we really kind of want to go to places that when a boat arrives, it's still kind of an event. They go, what are you doing here? Nobody comes here, places like Kiribati and some of those places. So one of the reasons I'm here doing this and moved onto a boat with my family years ago was because of Robin Lee Graham and Dove. And I've actually talked with him on the phone. He's in Montana where we were when we decided to do this. And I spent some time chatting with him on the phone. And I kind of want to recreate Dove's voyage across the Pacific. And he left from Long Beach and then went to Hawaii, and then Hawaii to Kiribati, and so that's kind of what we're thinking right now. We're planning on leaving for Hawaii in January, which is not the best time to go to Hawaii. I know that, but it's the time that we have to do it because we want to hit the South Pacific in the right time, which is the end of March, first part of April. My family really wants us to go to New Zealand, but I kind of am keen on maybe going to Southeast Asia and doing some of that. So we'll see. That I'm open to any. We don't have any dyed-in-the-wool plans.
Right. So, is there a timeline? You guys are just
No.
as long as it takes as long as it takes.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't.
I don't have any commitments in my life and no family.
I have a family.
You have a family?
I have a wife and 5 kids. They're all grown up, but this is their project as well. They are kind of vicariously doing this with me. They've helped my youngest son, Benny. He's paid like $30,000 for all of this. He's really been behind it. And of course my wife has, she's gone out of her way, and she went cruising in the Pacific Northwest with the 2 of us a little bit, basically every weekend for the summer. And, all my family lived on a boat. They grew up on a boat. And so this, for them, they get it. And what they say is, they've seen me offshore, and they know how unhappy I've been living on land for the last 6 years and missing this. At our age, Norm's ancient, and I'm 56 this year.
60. I'm 60. That is pretty old.
But no, I mean, we're at that age where everybody kind of starts shutting down, you know, they're going the other way. They're holing up in a house and watching Netflix and, you know, just kind of winding their life down. And that's why I'm really hesitant to get rid of my song that I have on my YouTube channel, the Hold Back the Sun, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to hold back the sun. We're trying to keep young as long as we can. So
not working very well.
it's not. Both of us, if you watch us walk to the grocery store, he's gimpy on his hip and I've got a bad back, and I'm going to get one of those one wheels though.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
See, that would put me in the hospital.
That would.
I got to get a one wheel.
I think someone died on those, didn't they?
Probably. So in 2020, I bought Mig in Alameda, and she was rough. The fuel tank was leaking, and the fuel was almost to the floorboards down here. So we had all that pumped out, and I put a tank up here and ran new fuel lines down to the little motor from the cockpit. And my daughter and I left here and headed for Washington. So we were going to sail basically all the way around the North Pacific High, which is the way, if you're going to sail from here to Seattle, that's the way to go, is you basically head out towards Hawaii and then angle north and then come back when you get the winds that are going to blow you towards the coast. And so we headed out, and first night out, my daughter, conscientious as she is, she checks the bilge and says, "Dad, we're taking on water." And yeah, the packing gland was leaking, and it was a dripless seal, and we would have sank. So the Coast Guard actually had to tow us into Bodega Bay, and my daughter laid here on the floor that night once we were docked in Bodega Bay with her hand down in the bilge, so that when she felt water, she'd know to jump up and pump out the bilge. The problem was our bilge pumps. We've got two bilge pumps, one on each side. But at that time, we only had one of these, this one. And there was another one down in the head, and then an electric bilge pump, and they all failed. And that was my fault. I didn't check all that stuff before I left, and I should have known better, and totally my fault. But we didn't have a bilge pump. So when we got to Bodega Bay, we fixed the bilge pumps. And so once we had the bilge pumps working, it was okay for us to go out and motor up the coast. We weren't going to do the long offshore passage. You know, you're close enough to get help if things start to go bad, right? So we motored up to Eureka, and we hauled the boat in Eureka at Reinecke Marine there, and left the boat there until I had a trailer built. And then we came back down that spring with the trailer and hauled the boat back to our yard in Anacortes. And I had this big garage, which I turned into a shop, and I just refit the whole boat. I pulled out the diesel motor, it was a rough Yanmar. It was an old Yanmar, very rusty, and it needed a rebuild. So I cleaned all that out and painted the area down there, and then turned the fuel tank into a storage tank and put in an electric motor and all these Battleborn batteries. Yeah, and then I learned to sew. I didn't know how to sew at all. And so I learned to sew on restitching all this stuff, which is why some of it's a little rough. And then I did all the cushions from scratch. I cut out the foam and just sail right.
Yeah.
Watching the sail right things, I sewed most of the cushions. When Norm showed up, he did some of the sewing. He's better at it than I am, and he did a really good job on a lot of the, like, these little things here and stuff like that. He helped me just finish off the last, and I have a few videos of us in Blaine doing just putting everything together, you know. And we put the mast up and put the boat in the water, and then we just left.
That's right, we left.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Norman said something funny offshore. He said, "Oh yeah, the boat's going to be fine. It's going to handle this just fine. But they're going to find our bloody, beaten bodies down below
Right.
from being tossed back and forth."
Yeah.
I think one thing I would say is, for people that are contemplating doing this, is this boat is a great boat, and it can go around the world. We're going to do it. We're going to show that this boat can go around the world. But get a bigger boat. Even just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
Because storage-wise, it's very difficult to live all of the time on a boat with two people and have enough storage to go on a 40-day passage offshore. It's just, we're pushing it. I mean, really, it's barely got enough room. We've got enough room for food, and without the water maker, I don't know that we could. I think we've got enough, but we'd be rationing water or trying to catch it all the time, which works pretty well actually. But my wife and I and our kids, all 5 kids, we sailed across from Costa Rica to Hawaii, and it was 38 days offshore, and most of it in the doldrums as we went across there. And yeah, we kept all our water topped off, no problem, with just rain. And we had this very same water maker, literally, on the boat. And we only used it a couple of times because we caught so much rainwater. So,
That's nice.
I mean, you're right. You can't count on it.
Do you know of any other North Seas like this boat that had gone around the world?
So apparently there's 4
Okay.
that have done it. That's what they say.
Yes.
I don't know of any of them. This may be the very first actual documented one. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. And I've got a great weather guy that does my weather, and with the Iridium, you know, the little Garmin inReach, using Iridium network, he can send me weather at least, but it's not the same as looking at it yourself and seeing it
and
right
making
there.
the decision based on the information you're seeing.
Exactly.
So you predict wind too, and you use
I use Windy.
Oh,
I have
okay.
Windy Pro, and I just use Windy. It's just cheaper. That's the only reason I don't.
So for MMA, what's the next step after you're done?
When we get done in the Caribbean, we're going to go finish that and then go up to Oriental, North Carolina. And then at that point, as long as I'm still into the sailing world,
Which is a big if.
giant if with a big question mark, then I'm going to go back to Texas and then get Evie May rigged back or ready to go into the ocean again. Then I'm going to take it back to Oriental and or her back to Oriental and get her back in the water. And we are thinking of going up the coast and then going across the Atlantic and then
Doing the Met
doing the med.
And then
at that point.
then it will be separate buddy boats.
Then-
Yeah, my wife is going to retire at that point and join me, and then we want to do the Med. So he's got to find a wife. Everybody. Find a wife. I will have completed my circumnavigation when I get to Trinidad. One of the passages that I want to do, and it's crazy, is I want to go from South Africa all the way to Trinidad nonstop. I don't want to stop in St. Helena and, you know, those islands. I want to go all the way across, which is about 6,000 miles. So the difficulty there, we will have to just have freeze-dried food for that passage.
Is Norm on board with that?
Well, I'm
He
on
seems
board
pretty
if we do
easygoing.
it, but I don't think we're going to be able to make it. But we'll find out. I'm all for it.
We
Heck,
can
why
do it.
not? But I was in the Navy, so I've gone from San Diego to the Indian Ocean
Right.
3 times. But it was on a big
Big
old
giant ship.
giant Navy ship, so
Yeah.
a little different than this. So, but
Well,
up here,
on your boat, you're allowed up front though, right?
this is true. I am allowed up there on my front. Yeah. But
Yeah.
if I go past there, it's
I wasn't allowed in the aft cabin on his,
just because.
but it was just because you couldn't get in because he had it filled with shit all the way to the top. Oh, we didn't show the tiller. We show the tiller.
Special?
Yep.
Oh, this is cool. What is this?
That's bicycle handlebar
I was going
tape.
to say, it looked like handlebars.
Like a lizard or something.
Did you laminate that and everything?
I had to have it redone, completely redone. I didn't do it.
So we actually met Topher and Norm here in Santa Barbara. We were just walking by the laundry area. I actually looked inside and saw 2 guys in there. Didn't think anything of it. And then I hear SVRO. And it was Norm. And he's like, hey, I watch your channel. It's very fun for us because it's the first time we've really gotten like someone came up to us on the
They're
street.
famous.
Yeah,
They're famous.
on the
I
street.
said,
We're gonna
I know them. I noticed Rich first, and I saw Jenny behind him. And then they
couldn't
walked around the corner, and then I told Topher, I said, man, I know them.
And I'm
I
like,
said, I think that's SVRO. He goes, and then I thought, I got to go out there. So I took off, went out there, and Jenny was standing by the fence, but I couldn't remember her name. So I said, SVRO? She goes, yeah.
I'm like,
freaking stalker, dude.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just really glad that you guys did. That's really,
Small world, man.
it is a small world.
So they came over last night. We had fajitas on MiG.
We did.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
you're on me.
It was. Yeah, we'll have to have you guys over if we have time before we leave.
You got lots more
So-
room.
We're going to the islands. I plan on
Yep.
treating you guys to a lobster dinner.
Oh, there we go.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna go diving for lobster.
I don't know what you guys are doing for Thanksgiving, but I got all the works for Thanksgiving.
Probably moving around to the other side of the island. 'Cause it looks like it's gonna blow hard.
Wednesday, move around to the other side.
Yeah.
Be sure to check out Sailing Vessel Mig. So what is Mig?
Mig is my wife's name on an online role-playing game called Black Desert. She plays, we both play this game, and it's a little shy. They're called shies, and they're a little girl, and they're super tough. And that's my wife's name. Her character's name is Mig, and this Mig, is super tough and super small.
It's totally fitting, I think. It does seem like a little tough boat.
And we call Evie May and Mig Christmas sisters because he's red, I'm green. We didn't even plan that. We didn't plan that. That's
You guys
funny.
totally set that up.
No, we didn't.
Planned.
That's too funny.
Oh, that's hilarious. All
All
right.
right, gentlemen.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
thanks, guys.